EHAS Club presents Stories to Create podcast, where the tale of our guest takes you back, way back to where the story first got created. Now, to help create this new story, here is your host, Cornell Bunting.
Yes, welcome to another episode of Stories to Create podcast right here at EHAS Club. I'm your host, Cornell Bunting. I'm really excited today because we have a very talented young lady in the house today. When I tell you she has a beautiful voice, she's an author, she has all kind of beautiful stuff going on. She is very engaged in the community. She gives back. She has a non-profit organization called Threat to Thriving. She'll fix it. But everyone help me welcome Myrtle October.
Hi. Thank you. That was a nice introduction. I'm like, who's he talking about?
This is good, but with the show, I've always wanted to, because our show is about, us going back, and we're going to have you take us back a little bit. But before you take us back, I would love for you to bless the audience with what everyone experience here whenever they get into the midst of hearing your beautiful voice. What does that look like?
So I'm just saying. This. This is a man's world. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing, without a woman, or a girl.
Ooh, yeah. I wanted to have like the piano just come in with that. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that was beautiful. So I gotta say, let's go back to Myrtle when Myrtle was about 5, 6.
Wow, okay. Every time somebody say 5 or 6, I just remember living on Mary Street in Utica.
Okay.
In a big gray creaky house.
Wow. Where is Utica?
It's like New York.
Okay.
Yeah, really small town, little country town in New York. So funny because we're in the South, which they think this is country, but there's country in New York too, Mm-hmm. And I just can remember looking down the stairwell, this lit stairwell.
Yeah.
And we had like one couch.
Yeah.
In the upstairs living room. Mm-hmm. And just me being there with my sister and my brother who were younger than me, and us sitting on a couch in the dark.
Wow.
That's what I remember at 5. And then I have another vision of my grandmother, the lady and a bunch of ladies from churches, a bunch of church ladies coming over to our house and trying to help my mom become a Christian.
Try to help your mom become a Christian.
Yeah, because my biological grandmother, this is how Perfume and Sweet Potato Pie was born. Oh. Because my grandma, my biological grandma, mm-hmm. and my mother, they had kind of parted ways. Mm-hmm. And my biological grandmother, asked her friend in Utica, because my grandma lived in Syracuse and my mom did too, but at some point, but she was telling her she needed to come over and help my mother get back to God, get back to church and stuff. Right. So she brought her friends over to pray with us and things like that. Yeah. I remember them knocking on the door, my mom being like, "Shh, don't open that damn door." I'm so sorry. I don't know how, because she would say that, and I'd be like, I'm like, "Mommy, but they're angels." Yeah. I remember saying that. Yeah. She's like, "If you open that door, I'm going to whoop you behind." I still open the door anyway.
You did?
I still open the door. I just knew something better was on the other side.
Oh, my goodness.
And they were awesome, so it was good. I'm glad I opened the door.
Yeah? Yeah. So your mom found Christ?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she did.
That is amazing. Yeah. When did you guys decided you didn't want to be in New York no more?
I left New York when I was 16. No. I left. Gosh, I didn't leave till I was 8. So we didn't really come to Florida like that. So I came on my own as a adult, teenager.
Teenager, okay.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a hard thing. I wish you would have told me you were asking. Okay, so my mom, we left Utica when I was like, I left Utica when I was 15 on my own. And then I ended up going to Orlando for a college program.
Okay.
They had a college program. I was 18. It was the first time I took a plane. First time I had left New York by myself, at least, because my grandmother, we would drive to Florida all the time in the van, and she'd make chicken and stuff, and we just drive up 24 hours there and back.
Yeah.
But I left Utica when I was like 15, 16 years old. I think on my 16th birthday, I left to go move in with my biological grandmother.
Wow.
And so that's what I did. And yeah.
So you didn't really have because, at 16, what's that, high school?
Yeah, I was still in high school. I ended up finishing school still, too. I told my mom that was my only, her requirement. If you go, you still need to finish school, because she didn't finish school. So she was like, you need to finish high school at least. That was her vision for me.
Right.
High school at least. And so I did. I was like, I'm going to finish high school.
That's beautiful.
Yep, so I did.
How was school? Did you like it in school?
No, not really.
Why not?
I just never had a good experience with regular school. It's just, I was bullied a lot. I was picked on, talked about, never really got along with a mass of girls. But the funny thing is, I look back, and you know how you wrote letters in school?
Right.
I have so many letters of people who actually did love me and care about me and that I was close to. I just wasn't in a clique. Like, I never had a clique, so you kind of feel like people in cliques make you they want you to feel like you're not a part of something, but really you are. So that's what I try to help kids see. Like, when I get to talk to them individually, like, don't feel like you have to be a part of a clique to be included, because you're really, that's unnecessary. As long as you have people that love you and care about you. And I have lots of letters where I would write to, where people wrote back to me, because I've had those letters basically what people gave me. But it looked like I had some good friendships over my lifetime. It's just I wasn't a part of like a crew or a gang.
You didn't have your own entourage.
Yeah, because I looked back, and I kind of did. It was just a spread out one. It's like even now I'm like that. Like, I have a lot of great friends, and they're meaningful friendships. You know what I'm saying? And that's good. That's what's important. I think I still sometimes get weary if somebody says something, or you feel like you're not a part of something, but you really are. And so that's easily ground for people to be bullied, because you feel in yourself that you're not something, and you really are. Like, you really are amazing. You really have a lot to offer, and you have a lot of value. It's not your fault someone else doesn't see that.
Right.
So.
And it's very important, when you get to relate that and help young individuals understand what that looked like. So you got to Florida. What was that transition like?
Well, when I turned 18, I came to Florida just for the whole summer. I worked for Disney World, and they put me through this program where you're Disney. You are Disney for life. Ooh. You will understand the ins and the outs. It was like boot camp. So I was like, I love it here. I want to come back here. So I was forever changed after that program. Me and only one other girl got picked, and we flew down together. Okay. And so after that, I was just like, I'm moving to Florida. I don't know how I'm getting there or when. Yeah. But that was probably in the year of 2000, and I ended up moving to Florida in 2004. So 2 years later, everything I had wanted manifested through me hard work and making it happen. And I was with the church at the time, so I was able to connect with women down here and do things and connect and get myself together. And I had this vacation package that I needed to use anyway. Okay. And at the time, of course, no kids, just single Myrtle, Myrtle Smith. That was Myrtle Smith. I came down here, and I was just like, I didn't have a lot of money, but I had money. I had some savings. And at the time I got here, I was like, ooh, I need a car. Because I didn't need a car in upstate. Right. And I wasn't in the city, but I didn't need a car. I could take a bus. I walked. So I was like, I got to get a car. So I got a car, got a job, had 2 jobs. Wow. I always had like 2 or 3 jobs. Yeah. People always say, can I say something? I don't want you to be offended. No. People always say, are you Jamaican? Because I like 5 6 jobs. I'm like, Jamaicans have more than one job. Always got like 10 jobs.
Oh, my goodness.
People always call me Jamaican. I always have
Myrtle the Jamaican, man.
Rude girl.
I like that. So you didn't do Disney?
I didn't. Well, when I came back, no, I was still a recruiter for them, though.
Okay.
I was a recruiter for them, so I was helping other kids get in the college program.
Okay.
And at the time, I worked at a group home for girls who were coming out of foster care or couldn't get adopted.
Right.
So we get those girls who just, man, they're at the end of their rope hoping to be adopted. So they were like 13 to 16. We didn't take anybody, and there were only girls. So I worked there. I was the executive director assistant, and we had live-in staff and things like that. So we do trainings and we work with the girls, take them to events and things like that. So that was really awesome because it was not right in Orlando. In fact, it was in Ocoee that I worked, but I loved it. I loved my new Orlando life and just being out of New York. It was really nice. It was such a good move for me. Wow. Yeah.
So when did you even discover your voice?
Oh, I was 7.
7? Ah.
Yeah, I was 7. So when my grandmother, my nanny met us, because nanny is my non-biological grandma, but she was my grandmother, you know. Yeah. All my cousins, we all still cousins and everything. Right. But anyway, when I met them, that was when we started going to church. Okay. I mean, we were in church every day, I feel like. Wow. But I loved it. I didn't really love it because I would get picked on by the girls because I didn't have like the big, gigantic, beautiful dresses that they would wear. And then my nanny would buy me dresses and be like, if I did one thing wrong, she would let me wear them.
She wouldn't let you wear them?
She would not let me wear them. So I never wore the dress. She'd just show me dresses, and I think I'm going to wear them. Yeah. And I never got a chance to wear those dresses.
So you was a rebel.
And no, I wasn't doing nothing that bad where she would give me the dang on dresses. I didn't understand. I still to this day don't understand why she wouldn't let me wear the dresses if I did one thing wrong, or if I probably was like say stuff I'm not supposed to say. But I was really a good kid. I tried really hard to be a good kid for them because I knew that's what she wanted. So I was in the prayer meetings every morning. Like she'd have a 6:00 a.m. prayer. Yeah. I was the only kid there on my knees. I'm thinking, man, I'm hopefully getting. Maybe I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Like maybe I'll get the dress one day. Yeah. But my mom, she would dress us nice. I mean, I was dressed nice. I just didn't have what they had. So church was always like, I enjoyed singing. I enjoyed the fellowship. I always got along with the old people. Just never, ever seemed to connect or click with the younger people, ever. Wow. Yeah. Man. It was always like that. So just I had a Jerry curl and I don't know.
Ooh, you was rocking the Jerry's?
And glasses.
You were dripping.
I was the juice on the seat when you get up. But I would look like my nanny. Yeah. I was like, listen, my nanny got a Jerry curl. I should have a Jerry curl. So I had the best Jerry. My hair was so thick. It was so nice.
I gotta ask you that because I've always seen that. Why they spray so much in the hair?
No, it wasn't spray. We used to use gel and we'd cake it up in there, boy, because it's so nice and it make your hair so. I mean, I wish Jerry curls was good, but I think that movie jacked it up. Because everybody get up and it's just juicy on the back. What's the name of that? Coming to America? I think they messed it up for people with Jerry curls. You know people did they have Jerry curls in Jamaica?
I don't know if I remember knowing anyone that had Jerry curls, but it was.
I had a Jerry curl in high school. That's probably why I got bullied. Why am I my nanny? Give me a Jerry curl. I don't understand.
You're like, look at this girl with the Jerry curls.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Lord have mercy. Just thinking back, okay.
I don't know if I've ever even talked to anyone that had Jerry curls. This is beautiful.
Are we gonna get through this? I am like already. I can't. Oh Lord have mercy.
We gonna get through this. So you came to Florida and so did you have the Jerry curl?
No, I was done with the Jerry.
You were done with the Jerry curls. This is good.
I think I gave up the Jerry curl before I turned 13 because I realized.
Whoa! Hold up. You were that young with the Jerry curls.
10 to 13, I did it because I wanted to be like my nanny. I need tissue. Yeah, this is not gonna work. We should have put. Why didn't you put tissue? Did you realize this was gonna happen? I thought I would get on here and be super like emotional, but this is great. I need something. This is oh my god.
Our engineer is gonna bring us up.
Mercy.
Listen, it's a whole lot. We're having a whole lot of fun right now, guys. It's
I got it from
amazing.
10 to 13 and I was done. I was like, no, I want to be cool. So I got, basically all you have to do is let it dry out. That's funny.
Oh, you get it? You let it dry out.
Just let it dry out. But after that, my hair was not healthy. I started doing all the permy stuff with everybody else.
Yeah.
And then my hair didn't do as much as I would like it to do. So started wearing the extensions and the braids and Lord have mercy. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be like my nanny, so she had a jerry curl. I did too.
Wow.
But like I said, I love the old people. I love spending time with them.
Yeah.
I learned so much from them, and I didn't care that I was weird.
Yeah. You know, I always think it was funny listening to an old person that go to church that cuss. Did you have some of those that hang with your
Oh
your
boy,
nanny?
getting her whole story. Okay, so nanny wouldn't cuss unless she was real mad. Like I never heard grandma would.
Yeah.
My biological grandma now, she would call somebody ugly baboon quick.
Really? Ugly baboon.
She was horrible with that. She would like, you old baboon. So she never cussed, but she would call. She would say so if somebody made her mad. And my grandma nanny, she would be like, I don't remember her. I'm trying to think. Do I remember her cussing?
Yeah.
Like I think she did once or twice.
Right.
But she she didn't cuss.
Okay.
They were really more about the straight and narrow. They did other things, I'm sure, but we didn't know about.
Yeah.
But we were getting. Like, if somebody messed with us, she ain't play. She ain't mind you going out there and whipping some behind. She didn't mind that at all. Yeah. So you ain't get in trouble for fighting.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So now you transition to Florida. Did you feel any type of culture shock or?
No. I felt like just the weather was my biggest reason for moving. I do think that when I started working is when I really start to feel like I didn't belong here.
Okay.
Because I worked from the time I was 13. I got my first summer job because in New York, you can get a summer job when you were 13.
Okay.
And I worked at MVCC, which was one of the community colleges. And I did a lot of paperwork. I would organize. I guess I had a knack for that as a young girl. Yeah. And I just did a lot of that. And then also I remember summer programs like working in a kitchen. I learned how to cut chicken. And I remember it being all these men in there. Not one of them ever tried to be nasty or nefarious in any way, and they just taught me how to cook.
That's beautiful.
I learned how to do that, and it was so cool. Like, so I've always worked, but when I got here, man, I just found like it was just like you couldn't be ambitious. I felt like my ambition was shunned.
I see.
And I felt like it was just very again that. We don't know you and you can't come in. You can't come in. You can be a part of it, but we will not allow you to be in it.
I see.
And I remember getting my first summer job because I was like, I got to find jobs that allow me to be with my kids because me and my husband were like, okay, if we're going to do this, if you're going to work at all, if at all you need, just got to get out and work, then let's try to do something where you're on a kid's schedule.
Right.
So I was like, let me find some jobs where I work with the kids. And so I had these two specific jobs. I won't say names or times or anything because I don't want to put any negative energy out there about any organizations. I still have a lot of respect for what they do. Right. But I remember working there and it was just like, I was told certain things and I was like, okay, I'm going to deliver because I could deliver.
Right.
Because I worked before I got here. I was working at Salvation Army Barnabas Center in Syracuse. And literally we were on the streets with these kids trying to help them stay out of trouble.
Right.
I remember them pulling out knives or threatening that they had guns and trying to hurt some of our kids in the drop-in center. And I remember me and my friend Andrea, which I worked with her and for her, she was like, she always say, I'm not your boss. I'm like, girl, we were a team. We were a team. Right. And I remember just having a full team and us working together and just really making things happen in the community.
That's beautiful.
And I miss that because I don't feel like I've gotten that at all in a sense in the work environment when I got here. So for me, I think not to be negative, but that was the only change for me. Like I never felt like I was in anything. I could be a part of it, but not in it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So you met your husband very early.
I met him before I got here. I met him before I even talked to him. I met him in the year October 2000. Oh gosh.
So you were still a teen.
No, I was in my 20s, early 20s.
Okay.
So I was in Syracuse for about 8 years before I actually moved.
Right.
But while I was in at the Onondaga Community College, the first 2 years, once you get like a good semester under your belt, the college program came in and they interviewed people, and 2 of us got chosen, And then after that, I became a recruiter. So we were there. I was there in Syracuse for a while.
Right.
And I realized the weather was too much. I needed to get up out of there. Okay.
It was cold.
It was so cold. It's so cold because it's near Canada.
Yeah.
So I was, at some point, I was just like, I had sundown too. Like I would get really depressed during the winter months because it's just so cloudy and stuff. So I always had to do self-care things to keep myself going because I was always doing, just like I am now, I was that then too. And I worked with the community. It was just so great.
Right.
And I hated leaving, honestly, because I wish I could just have picked up Salvation Army, Barnabas Center, and took it with me.
Yeah.
But my spirit kept saying it's time to go. And I just started, people thought I was crazy. I had started packing like a year before I moved.
Right.
I was getting rid of stuff, selling my boots. Listen, I tell people, do not get rid of your winter clothes because Florida has some cold days too. I got rid of all my knee boots. My cousins was loving that, boy.
Yeah.
I really thought I needed to, and I didn't.
Yeah. Wow. So your husband followed you here? Or
I met him through the church. So we met through, I don't know if you guys read my article on Church Hurt, but that wasn't even a beautiful thing too. God was like, it's time to tell the story, which was about a year and a half after it happened. Right. And in this month, it'll be 3 years this month when Easter comes. Because it was the weekend before Easter that they said, we want you to leave, but your kids and your husband can stay.
What?
That is crazy. Gosh. Yeah, because of my my background in church is that you could speak in tongues. And I had that gift. I have that gift.
Right.
But I never did it in church because I also knew that they didn't believe in that. And some of the language around what they would say made it sound like it was evil or it was not of God. And I'm like, I would share scripture. Like, I was always the rebellious. I'm like, well, this scripture says that it was done. And Jesus didn't say that about it. So why is this an issue?
Right.
And we were talking, we were in a Bible study one night trying to help a young lady. Because that was one of the things we did. We would talk with people, kind of go through studies with them so they could get to know the Bible. And she was asking about tongues. And I shared that scripture with her. And the other women in the group got really upset with me for sharing that scripture. That it was okay, that's tongues. She was like, well, we don't do that here. And they were just like really upset that I had brought that up. But it was just a brewing pot anyway. I was not conforming the way they had hoped I would continue because I was doing so much. It was so bad. Like I was just doing too much, helping too much and not really taking care of what, when I stopped or when I said, okay, I can't do this anymore, or I'm not going to do the things that they wanted me to do. Like if I was mentoring a woman, they want me to give that information about her and tell them what's going on. And I refuse to do that. Right. I'm not going to tell people's business. Right. If they're asking me for help, I can pray for them. I can help them. Yeah. We don't need to now bring it to you too. The person's already struggling. Right. So little things like that. But did I answer your question?
You did.
I don't want to take it negative at all, but those are the murky spaces that, I actually can talk about them now. I'm going to tell you right now, the shame and embarrassment, I couldn't talk about it before. But honestly, the shame was not so much about them as it was me. I felt like I had, betrayed myself, I saw something and I still kept going, knowing it wasn't right, but there was so much good there too. So it wasn't like, I can't look back and say I regret it. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad we went through that process because had we not, I wouldn't know what I know now. Right. And I'm not perfect, but I appreciate the experience.
Right. Well, no one's perfect. So
right. Even in those jobs, I appreciate the experience because it just showed me who I am, what I need to work on. Yes, that other side always has something to work on too, but I can't change them. I have to look at me. Like, what can I do better? What can I be? How can I roll differently? And so the goal is still that I'm always still available to my kids first and foremost, even with everything I'm doing. But that I give myself space to say, this isn't working and actually leave if it doesn't work. Like not continue when I know something doesn't feel right and continue in situations just to be liked or to be, wanted or involved in something that really is not my tribe or my place to be.
How many siblings?
I have 2 brothers and a sister. That are my blood. Yeah, I have a lot of siblings.
What was those relationships?
We had a good relationship. We were. I was always like their mom, and I've had to like undo that too because that was like something that over the years we're like, in my mind I realized I'm not their mom. Right. But I had that role like one for so long that as we became adults, I was not really, and I'll say my side because their side is their side.
Right.
I wasn't respectful to them as adults. Like I couldn't, I had to switch because the thing was, I had always saw them as my kids, and I was always the one, hey, let's get ready for school. Hey, let me do your hair. Hey, so I couldn't continue doing that for my own sanity, first of all, for theirs too, because they are, and they have been, doing what they need to do without me.
Right.
So when we tried to reconnect, when they moved in the areas I was at or whatever, because usually it was like them coming where I was at. Mm-hmm. I found that I would, I didn't have good boundaries with them. I didn't know how to have those boundaries because for so long I was like the big sister, but I'm the mom.
Right.
And so much that my oldest brother would call me mom, and I'm like, this is weird. We got to change this because yes, I appreciate it, but I have kids of my own now.
Right.
And it was different. We had to make a change. And so we keep in touch. We do things together. We try.
Still connect with mom?
Yeah. My mom lives here. I moved her here during that whole crazy stuff with the church and everything. That was during the time where both our parents, mine and my husband's parents, got sick, and we had to shift then too. It was like, okay, we can't continue to give all of this here when we got these things going on. And we, we were always trying to do all the things. That's why I didn't work either too, because we had to go all the way to Sarasota to take care of my mother-in-law and her husband. Mm-hmm. So all of that and trying to be in ministry too, it just was too much. And the Bible even says, put your family first. Right.
You have to.
You got to put your family first. It's not right. You can say you're doing all this stuff all day, and at the end of the day, if you're not putting your family first and you got things happening on this end that nobody else can do but you, right? It's just not right. So we made the right choice.
That's good.
We made the right choice.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that. So, but you do have some Caribbean in you. Your husband is Caribbean.
Yes, he is. He's his family is from South America.
Okay.
Guyana. British Guyana. And so my kids definitely have embraced the culture because that was my biggest thing too. I was like, I want them to have their culture because I always felt like, and now I'm seeing different, but I always felt like Black American didn't have a culture. Right. I always felt like I could have come from any place. Like, I know we all originate from Africa, but it was like we didn't really know what our backgrounds were. But I felt like people from Caribbean islands understood their heritage and their background. Grandpa had a whole story for us all the time. Right. He had so many stories for us. He would tell all his stories, and I just love that. Yeah. We would literally sit at his feet and just listen. Yeah. And mom too, and my husband's parents are like my parents. So I'll refer to them as mom and dad because I felt like, okay, if you ever know people who adopt children, they have to adopt younger. Right. Am I going too far?
Yeah, no. It's good. Yeah.
I see you looking like.
No. It's good.
And I remember like just hearing how people were adopted, and I felt like I was actually adopted into the family because I'm younger. I'm 10 years younger than my husband. Okay. So I felt like the baby that just came in, and it was nice, like it wasn't always a perfect relationship, but it was cultivated into one. So,
that's good. Yeah. That is beautiful. Now you got into writing. What made you wanted to do that?
So the first time I wrote before I published, I've always been a writer. So that was another thing. Like I didn't even realize I was a writer, but I've always written. So I have journals from when I was a little girl, letters I've written, all kinds of things. So my kids will have artifacts for years to come. Right. But when I first realized I could publish was I had met this family where this guy was saying, you write, you could easily publish a book. And that was the first time I realized you could publish a book for free. Right. So I was like, okay, well, I had just finished grad school, and I was like, I need something to do because that loss really affected me. Like just school ending, not having that accountability, not having that feedback. And, I was always in school for most of my marriage and most of my pregnancies. Yeah. And so when it ended and I was finally finished with grad school, I was like, man, how the heck did I get here? My mom just said I needed to finish high school. Right. So when I got to that point, I was like, I need to do something. So I had this book that I was writing while I was pregnant with my son. And after I conceived him, postpartum depression had kicked in. And I didn't know what that meant. Right. I didn't understand mental health. I did not welcome it.
Yeah.
I was like, I am strong.
Yeah.
You're not getting me.
Yeah.
But I realized I had to pause. I had to learn what was going on with myself. So I started to look it up. My doctor showed it to me. And I just started to do my own research. So I wrote a book. I was like, this is going to help me. I need something. So I did. I wrote Baby Brother Blues. It was therapy. Writing has always been therapy. Yeah. Singing, I could sing healing into my entire body.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing.
I like that. This so you tell somewhat of your personal struggles at the time in the book. Yeah,
so it's like fantasy fiction, I would say, where the story's real, but it's made up too, in a sense where you have to, I wanted it to be where children could really relate. Mm-hmm. So yes, I had to kind of like, I wanted it to be something that people could relate to. So we talked about just us, like with Daddy, and how, I kind of give highlights on Ethan and Ian's relationship, which is my husband, and then how Ethan felt with Aaron coming, and then how I felt with Aaron being there, because I had this sadness, but I didn't understand it.
Right,
I thought, I just had a baby. It should be amazing. Like, I should be feeling, but I wanted him always with me, and I was always feeling like, they have this other thing called empty womb syndrome, which I didn't understand either, and I understand more now. Yeah. Where I thought, I can't protect him as much as I was able to protect him before. Right. So I didn't understand then what I know now. But it was all these compilation of emotions, and I was still trying to help other people through that. And when I needed it, it felt like I couldn't get the help, although I believe maybe I had help. Right. It just felt like it was like, who can I run to in this time? Because I didn't understand what was going on anyway enough. But so that writing has been my rescuer. God has always led me to writing as a way to heal and to be therapeutic. And so from that year, 4 books were born. And I didn't even know that I had written 4 books in a year. So I never wrote it to become like a best-selling author. And I always had shame around that too, because I was like, well, I've written 4 books and there's no, like, I wasn't doing it for that reason. I saw the programs where I could be a part of that, that trend of being a bestseller and all these things. I could have done it, but I just wanted artifacts. I wanted things that I could leave for the boys. I wanted something that would allow me to feel too that I had a micro win of some sort. So it was just really all that more than anything else,
I like that. The singing aspect with you performing at different function, what made you start doing that?
So I've always been a performer too. So when I was younger, I was always called to sing at church. I did, go to competitions and place. I did a lot of different things with singing in New York. So I worked for a television station where they did something like what you do. Can you sing something? I was always asked to sing. So I decided I would sing, but I always was nervous when prompted because of my rebellious spirit. I'm like, man, it's going to be weird if I do it, if you say do it, instead of just doing it, whatever.
Just doing it, yeah.
But I remember meeting Biz Markie in person. I mean, he was this close to me.
The beatbox guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I called him out of the parking lot. I saw him walking, going to his trailer, and I'm like, Biz Markie, I can sing. And he stops. He turns around, walks right up to me, right here. He's like, then go ahead.
Oh, wow.
And guess what I did?
What did you do?
Nothing.
No. What?
And yes. So I felt I told him, I said, well, my voice is gone because I've been screaming at the concert because Lil' Kim, Tigga, and a bunch of them were there for the concert. And of course, we got into everything free, working for Disney. But I didn't sing because my voice was raspy. Yeah. But people love raspy voices. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, when you don't know who you are, you do things like that, know, and I think back and I look back, and again, I didn't like sharing that story because of the shame. Like, why the hell would you do that, Myrtle? Yeah. But I did. And God had already showed me that I was going to be connected to somebody like him. Right. And I walked away in fear. He walked away. He looked at me, he walked away, and I said, I'll never, ever do that again. Yeah. I'll never do that again. Where somebody asks me to sing, and I won't. Right. Because of any fear of any kind. They're going to hear something come out of my voice. Yeah. But maybe it wasn't meant to be, but maybe it was. I don't know. Right. But all I know is that girl, Myrtle, was always worried too much about what people thought. And I do think that I still care about what people think, but it's not in the same way. Right. So it's not in a healthy way where I have to be afraid to do something or to
Right.
share something or use my voice.
Right.
In any capacity, whether it be speaking or singing.
Right. Well, you got to look at it like that moment happened for its own reason. To have you realize some parts of you that
needed to change or needed to develop.
Grow. So everything happened for a reason and the way it was done. So you have developed now into a woman that is multi-talented in a couple of different areas. So you have this passion that still drives you in community.
Yep. So my brother, growing up, he was always in trouble. Mm-hmm. My oldest brother, not the younger one. He's never been to jail, thank God. Mm-hmm. But the oldest one definitely gave us an example to not follow. We were like, I don't know what happened when he was younger, because we were 8 years apart.
Right.
But I just know it was constant little things. Like as a girl, I knew they were small things. I'm like, really getting in that much trouble for that?
Yeah.
He did that? He sold a piece of gum? Really? Yeah. And it was always in and out of jail.
Wow.
He was always with the wrong crowd. Yeah. In New York, I think is lenient in terms of criminal acts. If you do change and make changes, they can put you on your own, let you off on your own recognizance, things like that. But you can get in trouble in New York for jaywalking. Wow. I've gotten arrested for jaywalking.
Wow.
So jaywalking is when you don't go on the cross path. You're walking on like the sidewalks here, but you're supposed to go walk here and you walk over there.
Yeah.
Rebellious people do that.
Yeah, I do that.
That was me.
Wow. Wow.
And I remember that. It was, So anyway, just remembering how my brother struggled and how my mom struggled. And we just at some point didn't know what to do. And I remember being in that battle with my mom, but it was just me and my mom. We didn't have male figures. He didn't have a tutor, a mentor. It just was like that. And so I thought Threat to Thriving needs to exist because working at the Salvation Army in New York helped me to see like that drop-in center me and Andrea Moore did was amazing. Yeah. Like we kept so many kids out of trouble. I still have kids on Facebook emailing me through the messenger saying thank you. Yeah. Because of those times. That's because good. We stuck up for them. We were their advocates. We had a space for them. We taught them how to cook. We taught them how to write, dance. We would do things. I mean, a lot of stuff they had in them anyway. Yeah. We didn't really teach them anything that was already in them, you know?
Right.
So
that's awesome. So now with all the stuff you're doing outside of family, how do you balance all that?
I cook my meals in bulk. You asked me one day, he's like, you about to go cook? I said, no, I don't cook. I'm a good cook. Yeah. But I make a lot of rice, and every time I try to do something special, the boys, they're okay with it, but they're like, they're keeping real. We eat vegetables and we eat protein. Yeah. We have fish or we have chicken. Yeah. We have, and a vegetable. It's not complicated. Yeah. And when we eat out, then we pick out something. We just don't bring a lot of those kind of foods into the house. We don't do a lot of pantry items. We stopped that a long time ago. We figured it's not that we can't eat it or we won't eat it, but we just don't. Right. We feel if it's in the house, then we're going to be overdoing it. And sometimes I'll go buy all the packaged stuff and it's gone like in 2 days. And I'm like, that's crazy. The boys, it's like, we just don't make a big deal out of food. We eat vegetables, protein, and carbs.
That's good.
I'm done. So I don't make meals times it's not crazy.
That is a beautiful thing.
So that's the main thing they like to eat. So the other reason why it works is because they're older and they could do a lot more for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I put a lot of time in before they got to this age where I was literally the person that was there for everything they did. I was in the PTOs. I did the board meeting, the Head Start board when my son was in Head Start. I did all those things and I did all the cooking and the time and I put it in. So now, listen, they're working with me. Unless we have an emergency, that's what it is.
I hear you. I like that. Who was your inspired singer?
I love Nina Simone. I like Aretha Franklin. Love me some Aretha Franklin. Yeah. Gladys Knight. Yeah. Tina Turner. Yeah. I love singing Tina Turner.
That's awesome.
She's so fun and rock and rollish, know.
Yeah. You did this potato pie. What was that about? What is that? What is that song about? Grandma.
The story I was telling you. Yep, just Nanny and Grandma. And how we lived in Utica. So I kind of gave you Perfume and sweet potato pie because they both could cook. Okay, right. Yeah. They both could cook. And I would go to Syracuse for the summer. and I would be I lived with my nanny for a little while too. And she had a community choir, and she did cooking. Like they would what do you call it? Sunday dinners is what they call them.
Yeah.
And they would sell. They were entrepreneurs.
Okay.
They would literally sell Sunday dinners, fried chicken, rice, corn, stuff that people don't know how to make or can't make, and you want your grandma to make them. Collard greens, corn.
Ooh,
and we would help
bread.
with selling the dinners.
Yeah.
So we all had to help with selling the dinners. We also had a food truck, and my grandmother, we would sell, all her food. So that's Perfume sweet potato pie, because they made the best sweet potato pie, but they also were Perfume. And so I always remember when I hugged them, I would have their scent on me.
Okay.
And I always remember their sweet potato pie. So that came to me one night in a dream. Most of my stories, songs, I have a lot of songs that I haven't produced because I don't really know how to produce them, but that's coming. Now as work is coming. Because things come to me, I just write them down. I realize that even if I'm not ready yet, I still need to write down what it is that's happening up here. Whether it's come to fruition or not, because it is something that's going to come to fruition eventually.
Yeah.
So that's how Perfume and Sweet Potato Pie was born, just thinking of my family and our lineage and our history, because I've written a book about Ian's side of the family.
Right.
The Where the Mountain Meets the Rainforest, A Delicious Christmas, because his great-grandmother, that's his grandmother. Yes. His father's mother is his So his grandmother also was a cook and caterer in Guyana, and she would literally send cakes through the mail and roti to the mail because people couldn't find that in the States.
Right.
So that was why too. I was like, I need to write something for my family that shows my history.
Yeah.
And that's the history I have. Yeah.
Wow. Now with everything going on in the entertainment world and local entertainment, because I know you've been around a lot of the local entertainers, what you think is their biggest challenge?
You want me to share? Because it's not really positive. Unfortunately, some of it's positive. I get along well with men, males.
Yeah.
I get along well with younger people.
Yeah.
I find that my peers, I don't connect with well. It's always been that. It's not bad. I don't have any ill feelings against anyone. I don't ever harbor things. In my heart, I don't have space for that.
Right.
And I love so much that it doesn't, I can feel something negative in a situation and still move on from it. I can take time to heal and get through that, because I have a lot of experience with healing from ugly behaviors or things people do. So I have a lot. I used to be I can cut people off, but it's not begrudgingly. Right. It's more that's not safe for me anymore. Yeah. So having that kind of experience, it's I guess I don't mind competition, but it needs to be healthy competition. It needs to be where it's okay, it's kind of we're having a conversation about something or someone, but I don't want to get into the ugly, this should happen to them or that should be. I don't like that. So I don't mind having a constructive conversation of any kind, needed or necessary. But when it gets to that space and you can feel that vibration and energy from somebody, it's just best not to be a part of it. And when people do sly, ugly things, I'm just I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I've been there already where life was that kind of way, but that was when I was a teen. Right. So as an adult, I'm I don't want to jump into that again, but I know it's happening. Right. I just don't want to be a part of it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. In this life.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's too much.
I like that. I like that. I mean, with where we going now and inclusion, where society's helping individuals understand the importance of their voice. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like we heard the message or we understand?
My message?
Not
or somebody's message, or just in general?
In general, yeah.
So I do and I don't. I think there's always, everything's on a spectrum. This is my philosophy.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like there's a spectrum. I see the spectrum. On this side is really good, on this side is really bad. And so sometimes we're working our way to it, but we're doing this because of our own human experiences. How could you not, But the goal is to really try to get more on the good side if you can, not religious, but in righteousness that is right for you. What's your philosophy? I think a lot of people don't have a philosophy. And my husband recently was we need to write our own philosophies. Yeah. And I said, you know what we do? Because in the religion, they teach you you are not supposed to have your own anything. You are supposed to, this is it, and that's it. You don't, and I'm like, well, what Jesus said that if we're supposed to do greater things than he.
Yeah.
So we're walking around not understanding who we are, what we believe, and we're doing it anyway.
Right.
But writing is power.
Right.
Like when you write something, things happen.
Well, definitely.
Whether people see it or not. You know, when you begin that writing process, it does change you. Even if you never even if almost like no one ever sees it but you.
Right.
You got to know what it is that you stand for, what you don't. And so you go through life with all these different opportunities, good and bad, and you have to decide which one works.
Right.
And so to answer your question, I feel like, you know, I definitely feel like I can't do anything well without fully understanding myself first. Mm-hmm. Where do I stand in this picture? Right. Because after the day is gone, what do I feel like afterwards? Did that work for me? Yeah. And my family, no, it didn't. So I need to move on from that because I have a good and bad loyalty issue. Okay. And so I could stay loyal to something too long that may not be good for me. Not that they're doing something bad necessarily, but that is it right for me and my family. Right, and sometimes it's just not right.
Yeah, I like that. Now we, you know, some would say as Black, we have this issue of getting ashy. Well, how could you speak on that?
I know one thing. I will not have my kids. Listen, I always tell them, do not walk out the house ashy. Of course, they don't care about their knees being ashy, but I care. And even when I was working as a substitute teacher, I had a little station where I had Vaseline, lotion, and all the things. So when the kids walked in, you can take care of that. Yeah. We ain't have you walking around looking crazy all day. I had kids, I would do their hair. If their parents didn't have time, it didn't mean that a parent was a bad parent, but why would I want my kid walking around looking dry. Right. So I don't have your kid walking around looking dry. So I be hitting them knees. I got stuff in the car. We ready. Yeah. We ain't doing ash.
Oh my goodness.
We got to moisturize.
I get so ashy it's bad.
And white people get ashy too, I realize. Yeah? Yeah, they do. You just can't see it. But if you look close enough.
The white ashy.
White people get ashy too. I never believed it until recently. I know it, don't you? You know it. We all get ashy. Our ash can be it's exaggerated. Yeah. Especially in the thumb area. Yeah. And I wash dishes a lot and I'm always got my hand in water because I actually do wash my hands after I was in the bathroom. So it's like I'm like, I gotta have some lotion I could do, take care of that.
So you just did somewhat of a Broadway play or a live performance in front of people. What was that like? How did you feel doing that?
So I had definitely wanted to do something like that, and it was in my conscience to be able to connect in some area with acting again because I had done it once before in Syracuse right before I left actually. And it's a funny thing how they wrote my portion was that I was moving to Florida because I actually was. Yeah. That one was called Sisters in the City, and this one was called Sisters the Musical. Okay. And I feel like I'm a sister to all. Like I really am the sister type. Like I meet women and we just instant, if we have kindred spirits, we're friends, that's my sister. So I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised. I was like, man, God, you really did that, didn't you? You put me back in another play that says, and it was beautiful. Like I felt like I was the old one. Mm-hmm. I struggled a lot. Those were my negative, lower self-thoughts. Like, man, these girls are awesome. How can I measure up to anything? I had all this stuff like, should I be doing this? I got 2 kids. My kids are going to need me. And it was hard because my youngest one, I didn't realize how much he still needed me. And so it was right around his 11th birthday. So he was still 10 years old in my head, and he's kind of come through some things that I stopped doing things that I was doing, like checking his book bag, like making sure there was this or that ready for them because I had to, I had to be there. When I realized how important it was that I got up there and I knew my lines or at least you just have to be in a spiritual good place to be able to do it. So I had people helping me. Right. I had, I had to have people helping me. Yeah. I even called Uber a couple of times for them, to pick them up. So it was good. It was good. And I would probably do it again, even though it was crazy. Because I've learned something that I didn't know before that I would implement now. Plus my son is a little older. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed the fact that I got to sing, dance, and act. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is so much fun,
That's awesome.
But it was hard because I'm I got kids now, and it's just when I did it before, I didn't have kids.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's good. Now you're. I'm not even going to attempt to say your name of your organization.
Threat to Thriving Inc.
Threat to Thriving.
Threat to Thriving Inc. You know what? That could be the Caribbean version of my organization. I like that. Let's make that happen.
Caribbean version.
Because I work on the Caribbean side of things, so I like that.
We'll get some stuff going there.
I love it. Maybe I'll have you do like one of my ads and say it so that way all the Caribbean families understand what this really is.
Everything is Chris, man.
We got to do it, man.
We got to do it, man.
Go on.
So, if people want to find Myrtle, follow Myrtle, what does that look like?
So, can I do a shameless plug for what I'm doing right now?
Okay. Of course.
So, Sugar 95.7 FM is like my main my main thing right now.
Yeah.
The way I am able to introduce Threat to Thriving, my love for the community. Mm-hmm. We have promotions going on that they're allowing me to do because of my connection and who I am. Because I can't go into I can't go in any space and I can't be me.
Right.
I love to give, and so if I'm in a space where I can offer platform to somebody, I mean, there's a lot that's still changing and growing and cultivating because of the storm.
Right.
There's some issues with being on this particular station, but it's growing and it's doing good, and I like the direction he's going. So I want to bring people in on that, So Myrtle October everywhere. I just like my name, so I just stick with my name for everything.
Yeah.
If you are interested in having entertainment, that's what Threat to Thriving does. That's our own little fundraiser.
Right.
So it's all going to be. It's not, when I sing, it's not for profit. You can write it off because I do have the 501c3. So any type of entertainment you book, you're going to be able to get a write-off on that.
Yeah.
Just find me there, Myrtle October, on all platforms, and Instagram, TikTok. Man. I don't think I'm Myrtle October on TikTok.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a Threat to Thriving YouTube channel that's just started because I have one of the service learners helping me with that social media stuff to get Threat to Thriving. But right now it's just me, really, like branding as me.
That is beautiful, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And you're an awesome guy. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I got to say, you have created a story today, and I know my listeners are greatly appreciative.
And I listen to your podcast too.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
There you go. This is good.
It's good background. I love podcasts. So yeah, it's good.
This is beautiful. So, for us over here at EHAS Club, we want to say thank you for coming and sharing a bit of Myrtle's way back, Grandma's sweet potato pie. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I like
Nanny
that.
And Grandma.
Nanny and Grandma.
Perfume and Seat. They both passed on now.
Okay.
They both passed on. But yeah, those are my babies.
All right. I love it. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, there you have it, guys. We just created another story. Until our next episode, when we'll have another interesting guest doing our stories to create right here on EHAS Club.
Well, there you have it. The host came, the guest came, and the story was created. Thank you to our sponsors, EHAS Inc., Karis Capital, and the Cornell Bunting LLC brand. Go check out the books, courses, and materials at www.cornellbunting.com. Thank you again for listening to the show. Check back again to hear another tale from another unique guest right here at EHAS Club.